And it's Dan and James talking about the
Talking about the
Villa
Villa
games.
games.
Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the AVFC Faithful podcast, joined as always by Dan and James, talking about the Villa games, as you might have just heard. And, much to everyone's, not everyone's surprise, me, but a draw away at Anfield, a goal draw as well, not goalless, because Unai Emery's allergic to them. But not just that, a brilliant performance, eh, James?
It was, particularly the first half. It was amazing. Like we had them penned in at times in the first half, and we were just playing the much better football. I don't think they could handle our high line and the compressed midfield and how we pressed them. It was just amazing. It's like it was a sign of how far we've come under Emery. Like this team just looks insanely different and incredibly able to push for European spots. And we've put ourselves in. We've put it in our own hands now, and I think that's the sort of performance before this Sunday now. Before that game, that's the sort of performance that you want to put in. A game of two halves where you dominate the half, and then you also show that you're solid. Apart from one really good piece of play from Liverpool, so I mean, it was a really good game, I thought, and I'm sure there's going to be other things that we'll get into about the game. But in terms of their performance, yeah, I was so happy with it.
Yeah, I was chatting to my brother-in-law while we were watching it, and I was just saying, never in my life have you ever felt confident watching a Villa team like that. Like, even during the 10-game winning streak, I think I've mentioned it a couple of times now, you felt like it's probably coming here, isn't it? This is probably where it ends. Like, on Saturday, I was just sat, they were attacking, I was like, it'd be fine. But every time they attacked, he'd go, the wall. It's the wall. How are they getting
Yeah.
past the wall? And I was like, you've got a point, to be fair, because it felt like every attack, I was like, they're getting through. And obviously they did, but, it was one of those goals where it felt like the sentimentality around it shone through. It was bound
Yeah.
to happen anyway, weren't it? But that's the thing that struck me highest was, whilst I do think we were quite smooth in attacking, it was just the defensive resilience of them all. And I mean, Tyrone Mings, what a man! Like, what absolute man mountain at all times. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother entertaining the yellow card.
Yeah.
But literally everything he came up towards was out, clearance, heading out, some good passes out from the back as well. He just looked so secure. I think he made one misplaced pass, and even then he's right back into it.
Yeah.
I'm running out of adjectives to describe the man.
He looked like he was in the opposition's head, like he knew what they were about to do before they were doing it. The amount of interceptions, I'm sure it was over 5 interceptions that he had, and it was just the ball would be going into the box and he'd either chest it down or he'd take it out, and it wasn't one of those where he's just completely clearing the ball. Like he takes it under control, and it's just the upturn in form. And I don't even think he was that bad under Gerrard. I think he was part of a team that was obviously really low on confidence and told, well, do what you can with the ball, which is, we won't even get into that. But in this team where the team is a solid unit and it has instructions as well as freedom, he's become the player that the majority of us know that he is. And he's been well deserved of that contract that he was given since Emery's came in. And I think it gives me the same vibes as what Forest did with Steve Cooper. And it's like, you know that he's capable, but a boost will help him, considering the start of the season that he had where he was stripped of his armband. Giving that contract like renewal when you're already in good form is only going to make you perform better and feel better. So I think it was another masterstroke, and that back line just looked comfortable in the game. I think they faced different challenges throughout the game, but they just looked happy and playing out from the back. They didn't shirk the responsibility. Within the first minute, they were playing under pressure out in the corners, and it was like, yeah, you'll come at us, but we're fine with that. That's what we want you to do. And it's just still refreshing to see us play that way.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, for a defense that had its both fullbacks changed out, you wouldn't have thought that both Dean and Cash hadn't played together or in that back four for as long as they had. Like, outrageously smooth in the way they both played as well, which is something we're probably not quite used to saying. I mean, we used to say about Ashley Young and Alex Moreno, and then I saw them both come in. I thought, if it wasn't Unai Emery, you go, oh, changing both fullbacks away at Anfield. But as soon as you know it's Unai Emery, you go, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he's doing that. Who wouldn't think to do that? I thought they both played amazingly as well. And Cash's pace, we mentioned it, didn't we, before, saying that
Yeah.
we thought Cash would be coming back in for the pace, and it was well worked as well. And I think it was only towards the end of the second half where he started getting beat. And again, that's probably bound to happen, but you could get beat at that time where we sort of dropped into the back six that we do.
Yeah.
Having Kamara drop into those pockets and stuff was, it was so hard to describe. And I mean, there's one tweet that's floating around today. You've probably seen it about, I think it was Alcott mentioned about who's the best free signing ever. I mean, I'm not going to go and say he's the best ever, although he probably is. But Boubacar
He's up there
Kamara.
for us.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's up there for us.
for us, I don't actually know any better, but there might be some that were before my time, or I'm not aware was a free. I just
Was Mika Richards a free?
no. But no,
yeah,
for
let's
what
move
it
on
cost
from that.
me in years on my life, no, it wasn't free.
But yeah, I mean, it is mental that we got Kamara for a free. I know that we paid the money in his salary and sign-on fee, but what sort of price could you get for him? It's mental how
Yeah.
good he and Louise are. And talking about James Alcott as well, his video earlier, he was talking about the Villa Liverpool game, and he was saying how Douglas Luiz is possibly the best midfielder outside the top six, and I think he gets into the top six teams.
Yeah.
Even as a squad option at City, he's got the ability. Whether he dislodges anyone in the first 11, I'm not sure about that, obviously, but ability wise, he's incredible.
Walks
He was
into
just
that
having
Liverpool
what,
team, don't he? I mean,
yeah. Honestly, if Liverpool had him, I think it'd be a different sort of game for them.
100%.
He's got the legs that they lack. He's got the technical ability to suit them, and he's got the flair. And even pressing high like he was hounding their defense when they were recycling the ball. And I mean, the cross for the goal is delicious because it was compared obviously to the Trezeguet goal, but
Oh,
Elmo's cross came from so much deeper. So
yeah.
theoretically, it's easier because you've got the ability to hit a bit more on it. Whereas he had to plant that in a perfect area. Louise did, and
Plant it, he did.
we've seen that from him before. To be fair, that half space cross he's really good at. And when you got someone that can lurk at the back post like JJ, and what a finish it was, and the
Yeah.
celebration topped it off even more. It was just a really lovely goal all round, and it was a shame that we couldn't get another through the game, and we carried on playing that way as well. There's the clip going around on Twitter of the McGinn chance, the football that we played
Yeah.
there from midfield was just, that is something that we used to see the Liverpool do to us regularly for years, and it's
Definitely.
like to do that at Anfield is really nice. There was composure and ability in abundance, and it was just a performance to make you proud. I predicted we'd lose 2-1, and I said it'd be one of those performances where I thought their ability would just outweigh ours, and we'd be proud of what we did. And he's even better than that. We held them out, and yeah, it's set us up perfectly for the weekend. And I'm sure that you're going to discuss your prediction there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only because I've got this weird stigma about going against us, because I feel like I'd have to rub it in if I predicted us to lose, and we did, and that feels wrong automatically. If we'd have lost 2-1, you wouldn't go, I was right, but I would.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing about me. But no, I think the only grievance we could really take from that entire game was the penalty miss. And I mean, even then, again, I'll reference back to who I was watching. My brother-in-law said as soon as he kissed the ball, it wasn't going in. And it's this weird thing. More people I've talked to have said, "You just don't kiss the ball at 0-0." So that's what I'm blaming it on. It's nothing to do with Watkins.
I think it's a
It's the
psychological thing, isn't it? It's like, I don't know. I'm probably just reading way too much into it, but obviously the whole psychological thing in sport, it feels to me when people do that they're trying to get more on the side of luck than their ability to do it. And the stone cold penalty takers just gather themselves, put the ball down. They don't care what's going on around them, and they just focus. Ollie's not a penalty taker, and I've always been worried about that. And I'm a big fan of him, and he's the right man in this team. I think all that he needs right now, because obviously he's on a bit of a goal drought considering how he was doing previously. I think he just needs something different around him now, because when he's left alone up there, you can't do much with that. So Yeah, I think the penalty miss was disappointing, but I thought he had a really good game, because
Yeah,
he had to feast on barely anything, and some of the balls that he took down, for like long balls that he took down, was really good. And all round, we know what his game's like. I just think we haven't got him into the same positions as what we were before, but there've been different games that we've been
yeah,
playing, and
much different.
what has happened is people focusing on him has opened up the avenues for our other players now, and
Yeah.
it's going to be the natural cycle of that, isn't it? When you don't have a Haaland or a physical striker like that way that you can just put balls on the head all the time, you've got to find different ways to go around it. So yeah, it was a disappointing miss, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned it then. There was a couple of times where he took the ball down and was fouled and wasn't brought up on or played it off well. And I just thought a couple of people have said that's not really his game. And you've started to see it a lot more this year because there's a lot more that he can actually play it off to. It wasn't really how he was being played under Gerrard, sort of like a hold up nine almost. He sort of just left to run the channels and make what he can out for himself with his moments of magic. So it's great to see because he hasn't. You look at him and you think, well, that's not your particular hold up striker. That's like Duran, for example, a lot taller, a lot built a bit more. But Watkins has got it in him, and it's sort of like the nous of how he goes down as well. Sometimes I think on a different game, he gets brought up a lot on the fouls that were committed against him. Just one of those things that don't really go against your way on against the I'll call them the media six more so than the big six now because I mean Brighton are in the big six now, really, aren't they? So
Just look at that top seven.
yeah,
You've got Chelsea that are languishing bottom half of the table, and Spurs that are a point below us, and
yeah,
you've got Brighton in sixth, us in seventh, and you've got Newcastle up there in third. I think they're third, aren't they?
third or fourth. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
tonight they definitely will be after they beat Leicester.
Well, yeah, that Leicester lineup is horrible, but anyway,
Still love
yeah,
you, Dino. We still love you.
it,
It's fine.
yeah, but the big six being disrupted is nice, and I know obviously there's the whole stigma around Newcastle because of everything off the pitch. But if we're purely talking football, what they've done on the pitch this season has been
Yeah,
amazing. Same with Brighton, but they're in a. I think the reason they're viewed so well, obviously, is because of how they run things. That they are probably nigh on perfect in what they do. It's really refreshing to see. And but then when you look at us, we were so far down the table, and we just looked like we had no hope when Emery come in. And I thought when he come in, our aim was get top half. Get top half, that'd be fantastic. And even that might have been a struggle for us when he first came in. And then we just hit the ground running and didn't stop. And we've had a couple of bumps in the road, but it feels like we've learned from him each time. Like
definitely.
the United and Wolves games, two different sort of games, and they had fine margins. And then we had Spurs and Liverpool after it, and we learnt our lesson, and we've gained 4 points out of those two matches. It's Emery's bread and butter.
Yeah,
Any setback is a positive lesson for him, and any win was positive preparation. So it's everything feels like it's heading the right way, and we've got a massive game on Sunday, and this just feel like promotion season all over again. The sort of run that we've been on, finishing on such a big game, something so big at stake. It's just I don't know. I've got it in my head that we are winning on Sunday, and I know that it's going to be so tough. And even with Brighton wrapping things up, they won't want to just roll over because
no
I
football
know
team
that
does.
no that I know that teams do tend to not give as much in 50-50s or something maybe, but they still go about the game wanting to win,
Yeah,
and they're a really good side. So we have to come out the blocks so quick on Sunday. I am. With all the talk around the atmosphere this season, I'm positive that it's going to be just flying in there on Sunday. And if I could say anything to the stadium or like anyone on match day organising, just let the fans make the atmosphere.
yeah,
You don't need your music. You could play the Villa video with David Bradley in it, and
oh, yeah,
but keep it minimal. Let the atmosphere make itself. Get the banners out. Get the flags out. Just have a great day because this is huge. It would be amazing. I would be so proud to see us. And as I've said before, like I would be disappointed, but not too disappointed if we missed out, considering what we've where we've come from this season. But it is in our own hands now, so get the job done.
Yeah, well, the state of affairs at the moment are, I mean, pretty much everyone's going to know this now. 3 points behind Brighton, barring a ridiculous goal margin swing that is nearly impossible. Basically depends on Man City for some reason trying to batter them 9-0 and then us battering them as well. That's the only way you could ever see Europa League spring. So I mean, basically winning in is no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Leeds could beat Spurs, and it doesn't matter what we do, unless Brighton have a wild one against Man City again. It is just winning in. That's all I care about. I mean, there has been talk of people turning their nose up at the competition. I mean, I've never seen. I know I've never seen my team play in Europe. I don't care who they play, where they play, when they play. They're playing in Europe. That's all I care about. Winning in that, it's like the best way it could have been. You mentioned it at the start, for it to be in your own hands last game of the season at home. You could not ask for more, and it's literally exactly how Emery said he wanted it. He wanted to be going into Brighton with something to play for, and it not to be a null game. Like you said, it is going to be tough. I like a lot of people are saying, Brighton will be on the beach. They may rotate, they may try a different lineup just to get some other people some minutes and for them to sort of see, sort of like a cup game almost. But professional footballers want to win. They'll always want to win. Managers want to win. They'll want to have a better points tally even now than they've got. So all that matters is that Villa turn up, because if we turn up and the fans turn up, we will beat them. Like, if we do it against Newcastle, we do it against Spurs, we can do it against them. It just got to turn up. And like, we can get into it a little bit, but obviously we've been dampened a little bit with injury news. Obviously Moreno going down, what was it, like five or so minutes into the game when he got subbed on.
If even that.
Making what was an amazing block, because I thought it was nigh on following onto Van Dijk's foot, but it didn't. And somehow and obviously Carlos missed the game. We even named 8 subs on the bench as well. That was a small injury, they called it, didn't they? But they weren't sure. I mean, it's his Instagram story, so I don't want to pay too much attention because it's not club news. But Douglas Luiz has put up an Instagram story, guys, of a sick emoji. So
Yeah,
it doesn't help. So not the best injury news we can have, but as long as Dean's fit, you back the boys anyway, don't you? Like it's this strange system where Kamara, Douglas Luiz may go, but McGinn's just drops back into that hole. Kamara's there, and you still feel confident.
I think you could put Sinisalo at left back, and I'd feel confident in whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just we've got shorting options, but whatever he does seems to work more often than not. And like as you say, Luca Dean, if he's ready, that's perfect. I've got to give him his due, because whether he's here next season or not, it depends. I think that those two left backs are really good to have around, but does Dean want to be for a first team player? And you never know. But for 2 options that we've got, really nice, and I think Dean proved his worth to the squad.
Yeah,
Against Liverpool, he looked like he had a really good game, especially collecting those diagonals from Emmy and then playing into midfield. It looked like it was just a routine that they'd done all week on the training pitch, and he had a good game, I thought, and defensively as well. I thought he was pretty good. So yeah, I think whatever we have to pick from on Sunday, I just feel that we'll get the job done. I feel like these players look like they really want it more than I've seen Villa players want it before. This is starting to eclipse the 10-game winning run and promotion for me, just because I think in the context of the competition that you're in, and where we come from earlier in the season, and how the squad is a little thin. It just feels like if we manage this on Sunday, it just eclipses it. And I never thought I'd say that, especially so soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday. I've got all the nerves and all the excitement, but it's a huge day.
It really is. I've got to say it now. I am lucky enough to be able to be going. I mean, it's second it got confirmed that I was there on Sunday, I've just sat there thought, wow, like I'm actually the chance, because I mean I was there throughout every single home game I travelled up for relegation season. And it sort of feels like vindication. It's sort of
Yeah,
like this is why I watched, the fifth goal go in against Liverpool before I just turned my back on the whole thing, and walking down the street and hearing the sixth go in, like knowing that after Jolie Lescott tweets his car, why is it like less than 10 years later we're pushing for Europe and we could be fighting in what is dubbed still a major European competition. So it is outrageous, and we keep harping on about it. It sounds a bit like a broken record, but from where we were as well, from who we had and the feeling around the club, we had a whole segment at the start of the season where we both talked about a disconnect between the fans and the club and how it felt like a growing rift. You just don't have that now. It's such a feel good atmosphere. And it's amazing how the football changes things, how
yeah,
just the style of play, the manager, the way the manager approaches the game, the players and how they look, not just physically, but how they look when they play. It just adapts the whole club, and I mean, it's unhealthy, but it's amazing how much football dictates our lives, really, isn't it? And
it is.
just looking on to Sunday, it's an opportunity for a lot of us who haven't had this opportunity to back the boys for something really big. Like we backed them through promotion back to the Premier League. Some people have backed the boys, through top half pushes and stuff like that. But there's going to be a lot of people around my age who just haven't had this chance and haven't had the opportunity to see the team just properly compete at the highest levels. And just you couldn't ask for more. You really couldn't.
No, and obviously, I understand the part of the reason why. Well, I don't, but I can see where people are coming from with the whole Europa Conference League. But it's a cup. We all say we want to win a cup, and that's something else that we can't forget next season. Like if we do get Europe, we've also got the League Cup and the FA Cup to deal with as well. So that makes the transfer window, really, really critical that we get it right because we want to compete on all fronts and as far as we can. I'm not saying that we're going to go and win the quadruple, which we might, but still, I'm just, I just mean you want to be competitive at all levels, and
Yeah.
Europe is Europe for me. And the same way that people look at the FA Cup as a ticket into Europe or the League Cup even. Well, the Europa Conference is a ticket into the Europa League if you win
Yeah.
it, and it's not as easy as what some might think it is. There's going to be some good teams in the Europa Conference League next season by the look. But you look at West Ham, who've had a struggling season in the Prem, and they've not cruised through, but they haven't been troubled too much through, and
Yeah.
it's just one of those, isn't it? If you won it, you've won a cup, and you're stepping up another level again. It's can't see why anyone would turn the nose up at it. Whatever extra pull it has on players, I have no idea. But the point is, the Prem and Emery alone are a massive pull for the club, and we know the ambition of the owners, and we know the finances of the owners. And next season just feels like it's going to be really fun, with or without Europe, to be honest. And I hope that we do have Europe, but if not, I'd back us to do well in one of the other cups. So yeah, Sundays just feels everything's set up, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but the weather looks cracking. We know what the atmosphere is going to be like. We've really built ourselves up here, and we've got a squad that are capable of it. And yeah, just enjoy it. I think enjoy the build up to Sunday more than anything right now, because whatever happens will happen. But this is exciting. So football's always about moments, and enjoy this moment.
Magical moments, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, it just links back. I had to get it up because that's what I was looking away for. Was James Rushton tweet saying that I couldn't agree with more, and it's just quoting the three things that people saying: squad ain't ready, never will be, too soon, the only time is now, and disrupts next season. Big club problem for a big club. And like I said, West Ham fans don't care where they finish the season if they've got Europa League next year, and they won't. That is just how it is. So, like he mentions it there, and it's something that a lot of people don't mention, apart from you just then. It's a ladder, and you win it. Not saying we would, but if you win it, Europa League, you win that Champions League. So it's not all defined. It doesn't define your entire life just because you go into a competition that's got a lesser standing than the Europa League. I mean, fairly certain, people had a bad look on the Europa League until the Conference League came out, and now people think the Europa League's a high level competition. It's just comparison to a lot of people, and I mean, there'll be comments and there'll be worries thrown around because we're Villa fans and we have to be worried, but this is the time now for us to just sit back and enjoy it all, and for us to sit back and go, oh, so there's actually a chance that next year I can get my passport out and chuck on the claret and blue top and travel around the world and watch the Villa again, which is something we haven't been able to say for nearly 20 years. So it's absolutely outrageous. And I know we've got another game to go, but you then get excited about the summer, and you then get excited about all the amazing guests that the AVFC Faithful podcast are going to have on, and you get excited about all the content from the AVFC. It's just a great time. You just don't want to stop talking about Villa. You don't want to stop watching stuff about Villa, looking at James's 10 tweet threads, or looking at literally anything that any Aston Villa content creator is producing. It's just great. I spend too much of my life looking at Villa stuff now, and it makes me happy for it, rather than at the start of this season where I was going, oh, the Steven Gerrard interview I have to listen to because I have to talk about it and what he says, and why he says that Chelsea should be wiping the floor with us.
Yeah,
I'm over it though. But I guess we should talk about Brighton. I mean, we should talk about the actual game that's going to happen, not just what might happen. I mean, there's not much more that we can say that hasn't already been said about Brighton, but a tough last game is not really cutting it to describe it, really, is it, James?
No, they are a really good side. It's funny though, isn't it, really? Because I look at them and I think, what a really, really well coached team. But we've also seen them get torn apart 5-1 by Everton and 4-1 by Newcastle. It's really strange, and I don't know what that is, because I think maybe they're worked out sometimes, or maybe their play style doesn't suit certain opposition. But in general, watching them is just really exciting, I think, and they will put on they will give us a good test, and have to be on top of our game. Their wingers and midfielders can give us a real good problem to face, and it is nerve wracking in a sense, and that's testament to Brighton, because a few years ago when we were playing them in the Championship, I just thought, like, Brighton.
Yeah.
But now you're looking, you think, well, that's a tough test, and fair play to them how they run that ship, whatever it is.
Both of them get ran.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, whether there's a lot of talk, will they drop off, and will it work forever? It's like, well, it's working there, and why wouldn't they carry on doing it? And they've achieved something that they've not achieved before in their history. So fair play to them. And I wish that we were in their position in the table, but we've had a different but incredible season still, and I think it's probably a really perfect game to finish the season with. Like, when you're looking at Europe, I think these two clubs facing each other, if we finish 7th and they've got 6th, then brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah.
That's right. Just overcome with emotion. I understand.
I can't hold it in. But it's brilliant to see the top 6 get disrupted by top 7 by different clubs, and I'm just really excited for the game.
Yeah. Bless you, by the way. It's weird, isn't it? I was way more nervous playing Brighton this whole time than Liverpool anyway, because Liverpool always feels like a weird, like, isolation game. Like, it's all about the day. I don't care how Liverpool have been performing before they play us. It just seems like we have a weird game against them always. There's always something that happens, and a controversial this or that, or Jurgen Klopp's done something or said something.
Or cried about something.
What? Not him. No. Hey, 16 minutes added time though. In all seriousness though, like, it's a game where it's annoying because I spent all this season going, I love watching Brighton. Brighton are amazing. They're great. And I'm like, I hate Brighton. Don't like them. We batter them. Matoma who? McAllister who? Dunk. Is it basketball? It's like it's sort of how I've been going about it, and now I'm, it is one of those situations where both teams had a very odd start to the season, and both teams. Well, Brighton didn't really even turn it around. They just carried on being great
They
and
probably got better actually after
yeah,
Potter
yeah. But it's almost as if De Zerbi came in and went,
left.
I like what you're doing, but let's just put my little twist on it. But don't change how you're actually playing the style because it's near enough the same as how I want you to play anyway. So we're both teams that managed to change our managers halfway through the season and not falter, unlike some other clubs. Oh,
Yeah.
Chelsea, eh?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there and I am going to say that the atmosphere backs it and we win 4-1.
Ooh, God, that'd be special. 2-0 for me. 2-0 Villa. And
Even
I
more
think,
special though, I think.
you know what would be perfect for me? I know that the whole Ashley Young scoring to seal it would be great, but for me, if we could win 2-0 with McGinn and Mings scoring,
Oh,
the two promotion boys, Jesus Christ, I'd probably cry myself to sleep with happiness. Like, I just want something special, and a win, a clean sheet in Europe in the bag would be what an end to the season that'd be. And, as you say, I'm backing it. The atmosphere will carry us home, and
yeah.
yeah, I think a party atmosphere afterwards would be amazing to see.
I've only got. I don't know why I feel full one. I just feel like it's one of those games where if Brighton did rotate, for example, say it doesn't really matter what happens at Man City, but say if somehow they get like a draw at Man City this week, they're definitely just not going to really. I'd say not. They're going to change things enough so that players get the game time they want and he can see how he wants. And I mean, there is a different fight between the team that wants to win and a team that is desperately fighting for something. I know I can play against you sometimes, but it just feels like this team's going to be a bit feral on Sunday, and Brighton are
Yeah,
going to be like, "Whoa, we're not really here for that. Summer's here,
like
guys." Like,
when we played Newcastle.
yes, exactly like that. That's exactly how I see it going. But I just feel that Brighton have that opportunity where there's a bit more of a hole where we can sort of attack more so than we could with Newcastle, because for as bad as Newcastle were, they still had the back line of sort of the solidity we're not used to seeing them have. So
Yeah,
yeah, I've gone for it, and I do think we're going to see a McGinn goal to be the fourth. That's sort of what's in my head. But that's only because he just seems to be popping up all the time now. Ever since that
yeah,
Chelsea goal, he won't seem to go away, which I love, but he won't. So
yeah.
I've got the feeling I do feel like Watkins is going to score again. And I'm gonna have to say it. I just think Duran's going to come on and score. I just
We'll,
do.
we'll manifest it. He will score at some point when we've said it.
Well, if we're both there on Saturday, we'll just be the two screaming his name the whole game.
I
Maybe that's what
will.
he's missing.
I will try and find tickets if I can. But
Maybe you should just come and stand outside the stadium anyway and just listen.
yeah, I'll go and stand up by Aston Manor and just like watch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll Skype you or something, and I'll show you. Just kidding. That's definitely against the rules. Beautiful stuff. Well, look, we didn't even have to go on to about terrible referees and Jurgen Klopp crying, and it's great, isn't it? It's just a great time to be a Villa fan, and we're going into the last game of the season, so I wanted to end on just saying thank you to everyone through Spotify and all the way through the push onto YouTube as well, because the support's been so good. Like we were aware starting this halfway through a season on YouTube with so many other great podcasts, Liverpool McGrath, Claret and Blue, so many great Villa podcasts around that. The new boys on the block have come in, not been angry, just been happy to be here, and we're loving it. And
Yeah,
that you guys have been great, and so thankful for all the support. And I mean, we're not going anywhere, so don't worry about
no,
that.
just getting started. It has been nice to see us slowly grow, and we're here to do what we love doing, which is talking about the Villa, and we will
Games.
just have it will be an interesting summer, seeing how things unfold, and we'll be here discussing that. And then next season, it's going to be fun, and I'm really excited for it.
We just can't wait. It's great. So, as always, obviously, if you are one of the new guys around here, do make sure to hit like on the video, smash the subscribe button, and tap my bell as well. And obviously, until next time, make sure everyone go in there as well. Just belt the shit out of every Villa song
Yeah,
throw as many ticker tape and banners and wave as many flags as you got. I don't know what will be there. Just do absolutely everything, because
Get
at the
it
very
right.
least, we can't sit back and then go, oh, well, if the atmosphere was better, no, that bit could be sealed off. And I've got every faith in the world that atmosphere is going to be amazing. So, lovely weather, get the shorts on, beers flowing, and as always, at the Villa.
The Villa.
Jurgen Klopp, you're a pussy.